The thoughts, views, and comments expressed by the hosts, guests, and callers on Beyond the Headlines are not necessarily those of management, ownership, or production unit of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is a production of ILTV Studios and cannot be reproduced or represented in part or entirety without express written permission of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is the intellectual property of the Verizon Media Group. Copyright 2021.
A Facebook transaction turns deadly. Tonight, there is concern. Also tonight, a former ambassador and key figure in the financial services banned from operating here in the Bahamas for more than 20 years. And the latest on the Rosewood Turtle Grass saga. It's all straight ahead this evening. This is Beyond the Headlines. Good evening. I'm Shanique Miller. It's great to have you along this evening. Well, following the tragic death of that 20-year-old man attempting to make a purchase as a result of a Facebook Marketplace lead last week, some residents are now expressing concern about the safety of online transactions that then become face-to-face. We get caught up with Rebecca Bain.
What is meant to be a simple and convenient platform for online purchases is now being viewed by some as a potential danger, following the deadly shooting linked to a Facebook Marketplace meetup.
You know, time before, you had to worry, but if this is a genuine product, if this like worthwhile, buying it off the market, but now they make it double the harder because now you got to worry about getting killed now and getting well unalive.
That's uncalled for a 20-year-old to die doing something like that. We can't take it lightly.
The tragedy has also reignited concerns about the risks associated with online marketplace transactions. In recent years, several people have reported being robbed at gunpoint while meeting strangers to buy or sell items arranged through social media platforms. Now, some Bahamians say it may be time to reevaluate how these exchanges are carried out, including where meetups take place and whether greater safety measures should be implemented.
Anytime you selling something or you buying something, you need to go to the police station, let them meet you in the police yard. Because nowadays, people want what they ain't put down. You understand me? They want what you got.
Meanwhile, members of the business community who rely on Facebook Marketplace to connect with customers say the platform has long served as an important tool for many small businesses and entrepreneurs. While many say they already take extra precautions when arranging transactions, they admit incidents like these can damage public trust and create fear among buyers and sellers.
Trying to make an honest living, you could cost it hard for innocent people like us. I feel like people can stop trusting, the market now.
And while investigations into the incident continue, many Bahamians are now calling for greater public awareness and safety precautions, as they warn that these type of crimes appear to be becoming a growing concern.
To be more awareness, the government need to do their part because you always have to be cautious in the world we live in today.
Rebecca Bain, Eyewitness News.
Well, that is exactly where we start this evening. The risks of doing business through Facebook or any other social media platform. Is it a risk, though? Should business practices be just a little more keen in terms of you don't meet up with the cash? Maybe you do that transaction online ahead of time. Well, my panel is here, and we're going to get into the discussion. It's a troubling matter. A 20-year-old has lost his life, and we certainly send our thoughts and prayers to the family. But Leslie Miller and Ellington Ferguson, good evening to both of you. It's good to have you both here.
Good evening, Shanique. Good evening, Bahamas. Thank you for having me once again.
What should change? What needs to be different? You don't want to shut down something that, business online is now thriving. It's a billion-dollar industry worldwide, but obviously has to be smarter, and you should use discretion and discernment when meeting someone, the time you're meeting someone, and obviously, like someone said in that story, the location.
Shanique, vigilance always is the key thing. You always have to be vigilant. Wherever there is business, wherever there is transaction of anything of monetary value, people are going to take a chance. You have a food store, a liquor store, or some other kind of store, establishment, service station. They all have seen in the past where people took a chance to go and hold them up at gunpoint. Criminals are now realizing people are doing business in another sphere, so they're going to look and see opportunity within that sphere, which is on the online platforms. And so they're going to go ahead and entice people just like they do in the other business establishment. Wherever any kind of monetary transaction is taking place, greedy people, criminally minded people are going to seek to take advantage. We've talked about this before. I've heard the police issue out warnings before to people to do these transactions in public place. Let them meet you at a police station. I heard you mention a minute ago about take care of the financial transaction prior, and I say no to that, because really they don't even have to kill you then. They don't even have to show up no more once you then transfer your money. And so I've heard situations in the past where people are running behind people who they've given them their money to buy cars in the US and all that. So no, you want to exercise due diligence. You want to find out who these people is, what are they doing. Probably ask them who are some of your customers, and kind of feel things around before you seek to transact with certain people. Because people are taking chances. There are some people out there, they just make up in their mind, I'm not going on nobody's job, I'm not doing no 9 to 5, I'm going to make my money, I'm going to hang around and wait on an opportunity. And that opportunity can be you if you don't exercise due diligence.
You know, it is so disappointing and despicable that we have come to this point as a country, as a people. I'm shocked that you all are saying how many people do transactions in the manner in which they do.
Lots.
I'm really surprised that would happen. You would take, you can have stolen goods, and you can just call someone and sell it online and go and meet them.
Yep.
That's a dangerous
Or no
proposition. I'm really, it brought us to a new low. I'm surprised that the person who's responsible, well, they haven't picked up anyone yet for questioning. It'd be interesting to see what thought process or whether that was all it was, this one transaction that took place.
Well, I hope
be very interested in
you
knowing
raised
that.
a good point, Leslie, because you would hope that the marketplace, Facebook marketplace, has some sort of tracking to see when these two people met online, when they started engaging in discussions about whatever the product was, and that they can track the person that way. Maybe that's a good idea, and where the investigations would lead.
I'm sure that, Shanique, that the cybercrime department of the police department will be able to do some tracking in that area, whether they exchange telephone numbers or how the conversation was. They will be able to get some information about who this person is, what kind of profile they had on Facebook. And so, yes, I'm sure the cybercrime unit.
But I don't understand why someone would want to take a chance like that. You don't know if the goods are good or not good. It could be fake to begin with. I just don't understand why you take a chance. I just...
No, Leslie, is
Well,
the way,
follows me,
is the way
that's the
business is
level.
being transacted. A lot of business are moving from brick and mortar, and they're doing business. They are online platforms. You can get vehicles, you can get clothing, you can get appliances. There's a whole slew of stuff out there online that you can buy here locally in the Bahamas and worldwide.
that's a hell of a
It's
way
a
not to do
major
business.
marketplace out there.
I think it's a hell of a way not to do business in
Leslie,
life.
think about this. You can have a full course meal that you have never stepped foot in a restaurant for.
Delivered-
All you have delivered directly
That's
to
right.
you. You don't even come out of your house
It
for.
happens every day right here in our home.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah,
But that's a
It's-
different story.
Well,
That's
it's
the same
still,
thing.
it's
No,
still,
you
it's
know,
still
you
the
talk
market-
about
the online
individuals
marketplace.
with no background, with no business, address and nothing else, and you're going to take a chance to go deal with that person.
Yeah, that,
you don't know who
and
that you're
see,
dealing with,
Leslie,
and
you're
especially
right,
in an
and- but
area
you
that
are
you're
so-
dealing with them on.
Exactly. So when you pull up to somewhere that is dimly lit, nobody around, run. Because what you doing there meeting who? I don't
Yeah.
care if
You-
you're
you're
meeting
going
a
to get
woman
killed.
there. Do not
Or
go
get
to
armed.
somewhere where obviously business are shut down for the day and
Beyond me.
there's little to no movement in that area. Do not even
Yeah.
stick around.
Absolutely.
You should
Beyond
certainly
me.
have questions and red flags raised at that moment.
Why do we have to meet in the night?
I-
Why in that dark place? You must ask these
Ellington,
questions.
that's the
Yes.
question right there. Same
Yes.
part. You
I'd like to
go
see what
go
the
to the head of the
police have
class.
to say.
Because why do we have to meet at night? What's
Yes.
going on? Are you working? Well, let's arrange
Don't
this
make
on the
no
weekend,
sense.
maybe. No, it doesn't. Meanwhile, you all, speaking of make no sense and how this is really just wild, take a listen at this story. Serious questions are being raised about firearm responsibility and
That's up in
safety
Bimini.
after an 8-year-old boy was critically wounded by a gun allegedly owned by his father. we get caught up with Linton Ritchie on this story.
Ever do it, please turn yourself in, because he was never a bad boy. Oh God, my son, my son, my son, my son.
Struggling to find words just days after 21-year-old Dario Butler was killed during a fatal transaction, his mother, Fandacia Johnson, says justice for her family is now her main priority, calling on the person responsible to surrender to authorities. On Friday, investigators revealed that Butler...
So if we can just get that story, this is, if while you all find it, let me just bring everybody up to speed, and I know you all have seen it. This is where an 8-year-old was shot in a hotel room in Bimini. I saw the police report when it was issued, apparently by allegedly his 12-year-old brother. Maybe the two were fooling around.
Why was the gun there?
Maybe the two were fooling around, but the gun that was somewhere in the room, obviously. And the 8-year-old was wounded. I think he was flown out to the capital. Do we have that story now? So we can hear that and then discuss?
That's a lot of deal.
Okay, so you all, let me know if we have that story, please. Meanwhile, you all, this again, this is something, it's not very, very frequent that we hear a story like this, but we do need to hear a story like this. If you are the owner of a weapon, it is very important that you secure that weapon, particularly where kids are concerned. In fact, where anybody is concerned, in a home or anywhere else, you must obviously secure that weapon and not have that weapon just about for kids to play around with.
Were they visiting Bimini?
I don't know, but they were in a hotel room as far as I remember reading from the police report.
As far as I gather, they all were relatives. And I'm asking the question, was it a legal weapon?
Exactly.
That's the big
How did he get
question.
in
Well, I'll
possession
tell
of
you,
it?
we'll hear some more right now. We do have that story. Let's
Okay.
hear it first and then come back and talk about it.
The firearm allegedly used in Saturday's shooting involving 8-year-old Duran Saunders allegedly belonged to the boy's father, according to sources close to the investigation, as questions now emerge over whether anyone could face legal consequences in the case. Authorities on Monday releasing an all-points bulletin for a man in connection with possession of unlicensed firearm who shares the same last name as the victim. Hours later, that bulletin was retracted, as police say the individual had surrendered to authorities. Duran was left wounded above his left eyebrow and to the rear of his head after the firearm was reportedly discharged during what has been described as an accidental shooting involving his 12-year-old brother. According to the GoFundMe description, the two brothers were playing together when they allegedly, quote, found the weapon. But as for whether the reported father could now face legal consequences,
the matter is still investigation, and so we'll wait until the police has wrapped up their investigation before it is decided whether charges will be filed or not.
While not directly confirming whether the firearm was unlicensed despite the earlier APB issued by police, Minister of National Security Miles LaRota delivered a warning to those found in possession of illegal weapons.
If it was an unlicensed firearm, we discourage the public for being in possession of those. It's illegal for you to carry a firearm that's not unlicensed.
And with reports indicating the two brothers were able to gain access to the weapon, officials are once again reminding firearm owners of the responsibility that comes with properly securing their weapons around children.
Make sure that all safety measures are taken into consideration, especially if they have young children around.
Meanwhile, a GoFundMe campaign continues to gain traction as the community rallies around the 8-year-old with a fundraising goal of $100,000 as Dexter remains in critical condition following emergency brain surgery in Florida. Linton Ritchie Jr., Eyewitness News.
And so there you have it, you all, the story that happened over the weekend involving the 8-year-old who has been airlifted to Florida for further medical condition and treatment. You heard that he had brain surgery in critical condition, shot, obviously, accidentally by his 12-year-old brother. Now, of course, if we'll come back in, the panel will come back in. I think Howard Johnson has been waiting in the room, guys, for a while now. But you all, let's just talk again. This is something we don't necessarily address very frequently or even have a need to in the Bahamas, and that is of gun safety. And, well, the gun was illegal to begin with, unlicensed rather. And so there's that. But everyone should understand the importance, gentlemen, of securing a weapon where kids are around?
Shanique, even if it was a legal firearm, before you get a legal firearm, you have to purchase your safe, and so that firearm is supposed to always be locked away in that safe wherever you are, be that as it may. An illegal firearm, there's several strikes here. So this little boy got injured. And what you do, rather than staying there, because now you got two children to work with. You got the one that has been injured, you got the one that going through the trauma, oh my God, I shot my brother, which the firearm should have never been left there, legal or illegally. Then you abandoned and went on the run, leaving those children to fend and figure things out for themselves.
Oh, he ran away?
He ran.
This is just totally ridiculous.
He later turned himself in.
He later turned himself in, but I mean, it's just ridiculous with these people with these unlicensed firearms. I really want to push for those who are responsible, the authorities, to move post haste. I know we've been doing good. We've been doing drug interdiction and finding out people who are dealing drugs. We need to find the base and the root of these gun smugglers. That ain't no small man business. You know, one man is bringing one gun. There's a ring going on. And these illegal gun that is coming into our country, and see where it's getting with people who are dealing with children. Come on, man. They don't even have a proper safe to store the gun away because it's legal in the first place. We must get to the root of this
First of all,
problem.
why would you want to take a gun to a hotel with kids? He's trying to protect himself.
Because you're
That's the
criminally
conclusion
minded.
I came, because he knows what he's into. Man, what the hell is going on? And then he ran away from his own child who got shot.
Who got shot?
It's a coward, man.
And then the 12-year-old who may have been traumatized as a result of seeing what it is he
Tell you
did.
where he should be, eh?
I tell you. Listen, when we come back, we are just getting started tonight. You all know the story of Taran Maki, yes? Well,
Heard about it.
hear the information and details about how he's been banned from participating in anything financial services related in the Bahamas for the next 2 decades. This is Beyond the Headlines. We're back right after this.
Hey, it's your boy Charlie Bahama here at Superwash, Superwash's newest spokesmodel, and I'm here to tell you about Superwash's large capacity washers and dryers for all your big loads.
I know I see that Charlie Banana coming here just now.
Luckily it's also big enough for me to hide it.
I thought he was right over here where these large capacity washer and dryers is. It's big enough now to handle your big loads, you know. Yeah, like your comfort on your blanket. But just look at us. Somebody forget to turn on the dryer. Oh, stop! Help! You hear something? Yeah, that's the sound of clean. Superwash washes you, processes you, and entertains you 24/7.
Oh, this is a big sandwich.
I really like the honey mustard sauce. And then like the crispy bacon on it as well.
Oh, it's proper jack cheese. I love the spice. I love the crunch.
I love the original sandwich, but just that simple addition of bacon was like over the top.
The chicken is really good.
I like it. I like it a lot.
I rate this a 10 out of 10. I'd eat this again.
Love that chicken from Popeyes.
A lot of people know CBS Bahamas and the CBS Pro Store thanks to our beautiful retail stores. But what you may not know is contractors love shopping here as well. Whether you need a flat rack of shingles, a truckload of drywall, or a pallet of joint compound, we can make it happen with unbeatable pricing, fast turnaround times, and excellent communication. That's why contractors love shopping with CBS Bahamas. Learn more at cbsbahamas.com.
5 cars, catch the keys, don't blink, take these.
Island Luck is giving away 5 brand new cars. Earn 10 reward points for a chance to enter and win. Enter weekly from Monday 12 a.m. to Sunday 2 p.m. Winners are announced Sundays at 3 p.m. on 103.5 The Beat and Island Luck Socials. 5 cars, 5 weeks. The more you play, the better your chances. Visit islandluck.com for more information. Catch the keys only at Island Luck. Must be 18 and over. Island Luck reminds you that it's only a game, so please game responsibly.
Former IPG Family Office Manager Director Taran Mackey has been banned from participating in the country's securities industry for 20 years following findings by the Securities Commission of the Bahamas linked to the misappropriation of client funds. Mackey, who also formerly served as a director of the Bank of the Bahamas and previously held a diplomatic appointment as an ambassador for the Bahamas, was deemed by the Commission as no longer fit and proper to serve in any position requiring the regulator's approval for or consent. In a decision issued on May 21st, the Commission referenced a settlement and repayment agreement signed in November 2025 between Mackey and IPG Family Office Limited, in which he agreed to repay significant client funds he acknowledged had been misappropriated. Regulators say Mackey appeared before the Commission alongside his attorney in March of this year. According to the decision, Mackey did not deny the allegations against him, but objected to the total amount of client funds alleged to have been misappropriated while employed at the company. The Commission further stated that Mackey used a position of considerable trust to carry out the acts. As a result, the Securities Commission has ordered that Mackey be prohibited for 20 years from engaging in any financial activity requiring the Commission's knowledge, approval, or consent, whether personally or through a regulated company. The decision took effect immediately. Well, gentlemen, we talked about this last year when this first became known about this gentleman who served as ambassador, in fact, somewhere in Bahrain, somewhere one of those countries. Two, you said, Leslie, but caught up in this matter of misappropriation of funds with client money, clients' monies, totaling millions of dollars. We thought at the time that here's a good case to make about experience being the best sort of, I guess, teacher and something that prepares you to be able to handle such access.
Well, Shanique, again, this is one of the unfortunate things where we have persons of this ilk, bright-minded young men who understand and know these systems, know how to manipulate them and know how to move things around, and unfortunately, their character could not stand in a position of trust like this, the level of integrity. Someone once says that you have to always work on your character because your gifts and your talents will take you place. If your character is not strong, it will not be able to hold up. And this is one of those cases where we have people like this with bright minds. I mean, 20 years they give him when he be in his late 40s, he'll still be able to operate. This is unfortunate that many of our young people would seek to take this route. It's very unfortunate.
You know, you have to give Mrs. Rule and her staff at the Securities Commission a team that really works hard to pick up fraudulent activities and those that are unbecoming. And you see how quick they made that decision. That's when you got a man like Neville Adley as chairman of the committee, a lawyer and a bank himself at one stage, who knew exactly what to do. You know, this guy was a tough little fella. He even had a submarine and thing, you know. But that's the tricks of the game, I guess.
Who had a what?
A whole submarine down there in Bimini.
This was in Bimini to get a tourist out on the submarine to look at the ocean floor and all the creatures therein. So
Listen to me. You all saw that thing that happened a few years ago with the well, I guess this was a legit submarine. But remember the matter that was so unfortunate where those billionaires went and the whole implosion in the ocean.
I remember, yes, when they went down. That's by the Titanic. They was viewing the Titanic.
Yeah, somewhere in the U.S. I tell you, quite.
No, that was by the Titanic. Where the
I guess they're going to say very low waters around Bimini.
Yeah.
You know, Bimini
Yes.
has a lot of reefs and what have you. Not much.
And like
deep
Leslie
water around
said,
Bimini,
the people that those in the Securities Commission, I think they've done a good job.
on,
and that's why we have to always pay close attention and take care of these people. You know, we have the Financial Intelligence Unit and all them, the work that they do to detect and find out these type of things. And that's why we need to make sure that these employees in these areas are well taken care of and that they are not abused and misused.
Uncompromising.
You know, you got them right now, I think they've been fighting over a year in the FIU trying to, Financial Intelligence Unit trying to get their union going, and they've been giving the back and forth. I think they need to get that going so those employees don't be unsatisfied, that they don't be demoralized, their morale don't be dropped, and they can compromise their integrity, and that they can continue to do their work. So I will admonish those responsible for assisting them in that union that's already been agreed. Let them people be able to get their things together and move on with it. I think it's been hanging on more than a year now. That's too long.
Well, gentlemen, I'll tell you this. The government and the Davis administration is now observing its second week of being re-elected and in office. Today marks the second week. The administration, though, is preparing to unveil its vision for the country's economic future as the 2026-2027 budget communication sets to be made tomorrow morning by Prime Minister Davis. Of course, people are looking for what the national priorities are in the year ahead. They're doing so with a thumbs up, the Davis administration. You all remember on April 30th, where Moody's, the credit rating agency, gave the country's economy an upgrade. Of course, showing a growth of more than 3% to the economy. Now, Leslie in Ellington, what do you suppose for the Bahamian people who resoundingly re-elected this administration, what do you suppose it is that they need to see in this delivery, in this budget, what they need to hear in this budget, and things that are going to be tangible, things that are going to be doable, and things that are going to help improve and enhance their daily lives?
I think, Shanique, one of the things that Bahamian people are going to be expecting from the Davis administration, that this budget has got to speak to the lives of the average Bahamian. The average Bahamian must be able to sit down, listen to this budget, and see and feel how this is going to touch me, how this is going to reach me. It's time now. I know this administration have been doing some big things with some heavy lifting where everything has been up top there. It's time now that a man on the ground feel this budget, feel the economic development. The Bahamas economy has been growing. It has been coming back very strong. And so now the average everyday Bahamian on the street needs to feel it. Bahamian needs to hear how is housing, how are we going to make the cost of living and housing more affordable, more within our reach. We know that housing has been growing steadily out of the reach of the average Bahamians. They want to hear from this budget, how am I going to survive in this country that I call home? How am I going to be able to strive in this country that call home? And so this budget, we're going to have to hear from housing. They're going to have to go further. I know they spoke during the campaign about some things that they're going to do to further combat crime. We're going to have to see that coming out of this budget tangibly, how they're going to do that. We heard you promise these things. We heard you say you're going to do these things. We need to now see from this budget how these things are going to be done. And that is very, very important going forward. We need to see the continued efforts of energy transformation. We need to see that come to almost to completion, how that's going to be completed. And we need to start to see the prices and the cost of energy going down.
I expect the government to come with a futuristic, good basic budget that's going to touch the lives of the average, ordinary Bahamian or potcakes. I expect that the people in those low-lying areas, Camp Road, Baintown, the Grove, Color Corner, East Street and the like, would see the effects or get a feeling that someone is out there listening to them and their cries for a better way of life, that the cost in the food stores would be reduced. The problem we had with that over the last 50 years, when I was there, for the years I was there, from 1987, every time the government take duty off of food goods, you don't see the corresponding decrease in the price on the goods on the shelf. I think the Consumer Protection Agency got to be more vigilant in ensuring that when government passes it on to the importer,
The
it must
savings are
pass on
realized.
directly to the user, which is the consumer, because people are really hurting. You know, I think the health care system has to be upgraded. All the whole week people were raising hell about it, the problems that they're facing in that institution.
Healthcare, Leslie, you are right. Healthcare, because I want to know what are the key areas that Bahamians are really keenly paying attention to now. People made a big deal, and rightly so, but I say, okay, that's okay if it's a 29-member cabinet. Let them work.
Produce.
That's all.
Produce.
Let them work. And so what are the areas in this cabinet that seems to be covering everything and putting everything on the table?
Yeah.
What are the key areas Bahamians want to hear about, want to see movement in right out the gate, and be able to benefit from?
I think one of those areas, Shanique, is healthcare. Bahamians definitely want to see healthcare improve in the country, which I think the administration has begun to do some things to move in that direction. Bahamians want to see it delivered. I think this government, which have been, they had the 5 years, they've asked the Bahamian people for another 5 years. They've said to the Bahamian people, we are doing this. We are building new hospitals. We're building brand new clinics. Bahamian people now saying, we are going to give you another 5 years to deliver these things. So definitely healthcare is on the top of the line. Additionally to that, immigration. The government spoke very strongly to some new initiatives that they're going to do about immigration. Bahamians have been very concerned about that, and you saw it in how people voted across this country. I like the idea. What you're going to have to see is a whole innovative way of doing governance. I think we've got to transform the way we do governance in this country. I heard the Deputy Prime Minister, the Prime Minister, and now the new Minister of Innovation and National Development. I heard all of them spoke about empowerment and empowering our people, causing our people to rise. That is something that I'm looking and expecting out of this budget. I'm expecting to hear more meat on that, more tangible. How is this going to happen? How are we going to make this happen? How am I going to touch the lives in Inagua and Medwin and Auckland and Ragged Island? How are these people's lives going to be the better from this administration?
You know, also the high cost of apartment rentals is a very, very deep concern. As Dave and I went into some of those areas, what you call low-cost housing and the like, and those apartment rentals, the condition of some of those places leaves so much to be desired. And people are going through that. Some mothers we met had strokes, you know, with 1 or 2 children at home trying to assist them best they can. Met a lady today with 8 children. She's not even 40 years old yet, I don't think. I'm saying that, you know, you got 8 different daddies and none of them take care of children. So now the state is going to have to provide them at home. You know, these are basic stuff that the average MP has to face, and it's going to be rough on many of them because the expectation is so great now. Having a second term, Mr. Davis is a man who has a conscience, and that's why he won so big. People believe in him, unlike the leader of the opposition, but people had no faith in him to do any damn thing of meaning in their lives.
Well,
you know,
listen,
they now expect him to come through.
Oh,
I'm sure.
they expect from each minister.
And each minister
to perform, and this is what we are here to do as well.
On their behalf.
To hold, you bet right.
On their
to
behalf.
hold them accountable.
The little guy now
Each minister will have to perform.
The little fella
and come through for the Bahamian people. And I'm not talking about handouts, you know, I'm talking about just to put systems in place and empower people, like you all said that word, ownership has been thrown around.
Yes.
Well, make it real, make it tangible. Again, the budget presentation happens tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. Prime Minister Davis will present the 2026-2027 budget, and of course it'll be followed by the budget debate. Well, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to shift gears. Remember, I told you about the whole, and we've been talking about it, I mean, for many months, gentlemen, many months. Leslie, before we go to this break, your thoughts on this whole Turtle Grass, Integra, Rosewood saga that continues to just be stalled?
I don't understand why the government, the minister, The new minister can't just step in and get this matter over with so this man can create jobs and opportunities for Bahamians as well as their own enterprise. It's been too long with this Bikram, this old fella who don't want, he said he doesn't want to see a dock in his site. Where he lives, he don't want to see a dock. So put it someplace else. Why the hell don't you move your house someplace else or build another house if you don't want to see the dock? The crux of the problem is he does not want to see any boats in that harbor except at his own place that he's operating from. We have to do better than this, man. This is one person that's holding the country
One
at bay.
person that's holding up
in an island that
progress
is
for
desperately in need of jobs
several
and
keys,
opportunities.
Ellington,
It's gotta stop.
and stopping hundreds of jobs
stop, huh?
happening and businesses.
No, we Shanique, we're government.
Wealth should not only belong to a select few. At Investar, we believe the door should be open to everyone. We provide options for planning a better future. Our investment funds are designed to assist you in reaching your long-term financial goals. Let us show you how.
Welcome to Paradise Premium Foods, where exceptional taste meets everyday convenience. Right in the heart of Hurricane Hole Plaza, whether you're planning a beachside brunch, an intimate dinner, or simply restocking your favorites, we offer only the finest selection of local and imported goods, handpicked for quality, freshness, and flavor. At Paradise Premium Foods, shopping is effortless, service is personal, and every visit feels like a treat. From gourmet meals to go to organic essentials and indulgent treats, this is your neighborhood market elevated. Live well, eat better. Discover Paradise Premium Foods, now open at Hurricane Hole Plaza, Paradise Island. Paradise Premium Foods, taste the difference. Market elevated. Live well, eat.
To be on the headlines, it's great to have you all tuned in. We're going to shift gears now from some hot topics to something that's equally as interesting and hot, certainly for 53 people who are residents mainly of Black Point Exuma, and that is the stalled Integra Rosewood project. Many of them have reached out to my next guest, even showing up here in New Providence, asking to meet with him so that he can continue to bring this to the forefront. And so what's at issue here? Well, let's get into it. On May 3rd, Turtlegrass fired 53 Bahamians. That was the latest twist in the multiple turns of the resort and the issue on Samsung Key involving the $200 million Integra Rosewood project on the Samsung Key in the Exumas. That project is still stalled, as I mentioned. The residents, mainly from whether it be Black Point, Staniel Key, Farmers Key, are unemployed, given their marching papers just days before the general election. Many of them, just last week, came to Nassau in search of answers, wanting that project to get started so that they can begin putting their lives back together again after being dismissed from their jobs at Turtlegrass. Good evening to you, Mandel Miller. It's great to have you here. I know, like this show, you have been following this matter involving Rosewood and Turtlegrass and those workers and the issue on Samson Key for quite some time. What is the latest that you can tell us?
Well, Sinead, for me, this is beyond about a construction dispute between two entities for me. This has hit home to where families are being impacted by what's going on down there in those keys. No longer than this week, I had a gentleman reach out to me here in New Providence, said he sought me out as a result of the community relations that I had been doing with a number of business persons in the community. And this gentleman literally came to my house. I didn't know how he found me, and came to tears saying, you know, he left one job to go and work at Turtlegrass, and now to find himself unemployed and not knowing what to do to take care of his family, he's distraught and trying to determine what is the way forward, and asking for some clarity on what's going on and who are the authorities.
Because they are caught up in a row that has nothing to do with them, or even threatened their livelihood.
Well,
am I right?
The reality of it, from what residents have assumed, is almost as if the principle of one entity is kind of like more so weaponizing their labor to some degree. I had one resident said they believe it's a $20 million shanty town, they call it. And the reason for that is because in the documentation that was cited to the employees, it was said that a cease and desist order was handed down from the Department of Physical Planning. And when employees asked, well, what was it in relation to? In that same communication, the principal would have said that it was related to their belief that they have filed complaints on their neighbors about their environmental concerns related to their neighbors, and that they believe that this is the reason why the cease and desist order has been passed on. However, the Department of Physical Planning, who issued the cease and desist order in early February that I'm aware of, because I attended one of these meetings and went into the department to inquire on what were the state of affairs as it relates to the community, as it relates to the two projects, and where the government stood in this whole ordeal. And I was told that based on what the Department of Planning and the government have determined is that there has been no approvals granted. And so I inquired again.
So let's just break it down a little bit more. The Turtlegrass,
yes,
we're talking about the project
on Samson
Key.
Yes, ma'am.
Turtlegrass had approvals. They're not there entirely illegal. They had approvals for some sort of eco-friendly resort type thing. They have then another group, Integra and Rosewood, was also given approvals to develop another part of that key. And this is a $200 million project where hundreds of jobs are being promised, where spin-off business opportunities, something that residents really gravitated towards Mandel because they saw in it an excellent opportunity to talk about ownership, to talk about empowerment, job opportunities.
It's not just job opportunities, and for a lot of times here in our country, as it relates to the development of these projects, people talk about job opportunities. But in this particular case, in those keys, there are opportunities for ownership that people are looking forward to. You have when I go down into Black Point and see the amount of everyday behemoths that look like you and I, who own marinas and restaurants that are waiting for a project like Rosewood to take off and be an economic rejuvenation to the area.
I know one right now who is building and developing. We just talked about it earlier this evening in the newsroom. Alan Smith himself, a developer, someone who is not new to business, is also doing tremendous things in Black Point because, again, when Rosewood kicks off and all of that sort of spin-off opportunities that will make itself available, then his projects will jump in. But let's just talk about what it is. So Rosewood, that you have attended and been researching and investigating, has had several town meetings
Yes.
in that area
Yes.
to bring residents along and have them understand.
However,
I understand before. I want to tell the fact of what the cease and desist letter was about for Turtle Grass, because this row ain't just started. It was before then, but then Turtle Grass got vexed, because I want you to read what was given to you by the fired worker. They got vexed because they were issued in February a cease and desist letter because they veered from the eco-friendly resort and started building, was it smaller homes or something?
I was told that there was a possibility that they may have wanted to change their initial design from a boutique hotel to a residence after having already acquired the Hotel Encouragements Act as a form of building this investment to the tune of some $20 million in construction has been put on the ground on Samson Key. However, there have been no approvals granted from the government of the Bahamas. And when I inquired on the process, I asked, okay, has there been submission of application, which is part of the process?
Right.
Based on the communication that Turtle Grass sent to their employees, and I'll read to you, it said, "It is with sincere regret that we write to you regarding the status of construction at Turtle Grass, which is on Samson Key. As you know, we received a cease and desist order from the Department of Physical Planning in February. Since then, we have worked diligently to understand the exact reason. How could you not know? Why would the government not tell you?" However, it says, "Unfortunately, a few days ago, our proposal for a solution was rejected." Why? Maybe you did not abide by the initial protocols and approvals, or you may have changed whatever it is that caused the government to issue it. But then, according to them, they're of the opinion, based on their communication, that it's only after they raise environmental concerns with their neighboring project in the courts that they believe that the cease and desist order was raised. Here's a case in point, Shanique. In the first week of February, I attended a meeting in Black Point as it relates to this project and the procedure that they are supposed to follow. At that meeting, I raised the concern if the principal, Turtle Grass, had the necessary proposals as they were challenging Rosewood. I was then told by one of their principals that they don't need approvals for up to 5 buildings. That was startling to me. Why? Because I believe if Bahamians are building a birdhouse or we intend to put a mud guard outside, we almost need permit.
Yes.
And so I returned to Nassau, went to the Department of Physical Planning, and spoke with the director, inquiring what is the procedure if you're building a project as it relates to the necessary approvals, what are the steps? I have interest in doing likewise business in Inagua, where I'm from, so this is a great opportunity for me to learn the steps. She laid out the various steps. I then inquired.
This is Dr. Rihanna Neely.
Yes, ma'am. I then inquired, asking, does Turtle Grass have these necessary? And I was told by the director, you do not have the permission to ask those questions on their behalf. However, Rosewood, through their legal attorneys, asked the very same questions, and I believe that it's as a result of those questions being asked that light was brought to the fact that Turtle Grass had invested some $20 million in construction on their key without having submitted the applications for the necessary approvals.
But meanwhile, Mandel, I guess construction has come to an abrupt halt as right now. But meanwhile, Mandel, let's talk about the 53 people who are without a job tonight, who are fathers, who are leaders of their households, who are men who want to be able to provide for themselves and not sit around.
Well, based on the communication that was sent to them, it says, however, while the cease and the desist remains in effect, we must respect the authorities and are unable to continue operations. This will therefore be your final pay cycle. If you remember the Bahamas situation where, as a result of what was going on, employees, by no means to their own, found themselves in that situation and were still being paid for a period of time. I believe, and along as well as some of the employees believe, that the principals of the Turtle Grass project have the resources to do such a thing should they wish to. But however, employees again also believe that this was a tactic taken that was followed in an attempt to probably strong arm the government. Or
this was just before election.
Just before election. And there was a whole article in the paper to it speaking on whether that was their attempt to or not.
I remember because Chester Cooper, who's the MP there,
yes,
met with these men.
Mom, I want to tell Mr. Cooper, I want to tell Mr. Cooper, and I want to tell Bahamians. We had a minister of tourism that actually stood up for us. When I had Bahamians call me and said, Mandel, I wish you had heard what Mr. Cooper said in that meeting, where as the minister of tourism, we are not prepared as a country to allow anybody local or foreign to dictate to us all our processes or attempt to exempt yourself from any known process. I know of no resort in the Bahamas that have been exempted from the processes that you should go through. I've been a part and privy to a number of resort developments throughout our country. It is a passion of mine. I wish to build one in Inago one day. And so to see a resort development of this magnitude having spent to the tune of $20 million with no necessary approvals, you put our workers in harm's way. And now you're stifling the progress of your neighboring project.
So they
can't get people to work.
They don't want the Integra project to move forward, but yet they have stopped theirs.
Very much so.
And not seeking to go through the right channels, which is the Department of Environmental and Physical Planning, to be able to get the approvals to move forward.
Well, according to their communication, they've requested, they've submitted a proposal for a solution. This should not have needed to be a proposal for a solution had you followed the necessary protocols that are laid out for developers to develop projects of that magnitude in the Bahamas.
Meanwhile, Mandel, what are the men doing who have been jobless now since May 3rd?
These men are unemployed and they're asking Mandel, what's going on with Rosewood? What are the next steps? And so when I spoke to the public relations over at Rosewood, trying to find out from them where they are, I was told that they've received communication from the court to do what is called preliminary works, all of the site planning, the testing. They can't full on start construction as yet, but they've received sort of like a little amber light to say, hey, the green one is coming, start what y'all gotta do in the meantime and give the courts time to finish arrow the whatever indifferences exist.
Well,
and so I want to encourage the people in Exuma to just continue to hold on to great hope and good hope that someone like either Rosewood or any other developer that means our people in our communities well and don't want to attempt to monopolize any particular region in our country for their own betterment.
Mandel Miller, thank you very much. That is good news to hear because we've been following this Rosewood project and all of that's been happening really since last year, early last year. And so it's good to hear that they've been given some amber light to proceed. I hope you all in Exuma heard this evening, and we will continue to stay on top of this for you right here on Beyond the Headlines.
The Loreens in Black Point say that they are like avid listeners of Beyond the Headlines. And so I want to shout out the Loreens and all of the family and friends down there in Black Point, Stanley Key, Mainland, Exumas. Just hold on to hope out there, and we believe that God is on the way.
Absolutely, absolutely. Things are moving, and so stay exactly where you are. Mandel, I thank you for being here this evening and speaking on behalf of those residents who...
I got to tell you, a nice look on air in person and publicly in a long time.
Well, thank you very much, Mandel. Thank you.
A lady actually asked me the other day, say, we married? No, we're not.
Well, you just don't know, do you? But Mandel, I thank you so much. Of course, to my Hot Topics panel, thank you all so much as well for being here at the top of tonight's show. And to all of you who tuned in this evening, thank you very much. It's been awesome having you hang out with us. We look forward to seeing you right back here tomorrow evening. Remember, it's the budget. Pay close attention. For the entire Beyond the Headlines team, I'm Shanique Miller. Everyone make it a great evening.